Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever your work in progress is and work on that while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast. I'm going to be working today on my cute little sassy bird that I got from FG Normal. I've already done a little bit on this. And full disclosure, just so you guys know at the beginning, I am currently in Canada. And I discovered when I sat down to film that I forgot my microphone. So if my audio is not the best, I sincerely apologize. I'm doing this from my hotel room. My lighting is not the best. My audio is probably not the best, and yeah, just gonna see how it goes. So I've got my kit, I've got my drills. You guys, kitting up was interesting. I brought a container. I brought two different kits to work on. I brought my pens, I've got my tray. I remembered to bring washi tape, glue dots. I didn't remember scissors or tweezers. So that's going to be interesting. I did have stickers, so I just used my plain stickers and I was able to put them on here. However, I only have this one container system, so I have to finish this canvas before I can work on the next one. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, move things around, and then I will start chatting with you guys, get my timer started, all that good stuff. And yeah, explain how things have gone. So be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm just going to pick this color here, this blue color, and I'm going to start going. So I have them in my little cubey containers here. However, all I had was a pin and my stickers. So they're not nice and pretty like I want, and I don't like it. So definitely need to make sure that I have given myself a did I pack this list, and make sure that includes my microphone. I can't believe that I forgot it. So we went out and looked to see if we could get a replacement, and just were not able to find one. It is what it is. Yeah, just not as many things in Canada. You know, I can't just order something off of Amazon and have it shipped to my house. And I don't think they let me ship things to my hotel room. But anyway, so yeah, getting this kitted up, I don't have any scissors. So what I did have was nail clippers. So that's what I used to open this or open all the little drills. And it was all the little teeny tiny bags. So there were way more of them to open than usual. But I did get everything kitted up so that I could start working on this one, which is what counts, right? Okay, so a life update. Where do I want to start? First, like I said, I'm in Canada. We are visiting my husband's parents. His dad, as I told you guys, is in the hospital, and he's already been to see his dad several times. You guys, it's not good. They're still waiting for his dad for a bed to come open in the VA hospital, is where they're going to move him to. He doesn't eat very much. They've discovered that he has some kind of disease that makes him forget like how to swallow. He doesn't remember who people are. He doesn't remember words. He is sometimes fairly cognizant. We got very lucky the first time my husband went to see him. He remembered and recognized my husband, and he actually even remembered and recognized me, which I thought was kind of crazy because they had told me that he'd lost about 25 years, and my husband and I have only been married for 10. But he knew who I was. He didn't know my name, but he knew who I was. You know, he apologized that he didn't always remember words, but interspersed with, you know, he told my brother-in-law the bar was open. He needed to go check the bar. And he was asking, well, when we first got there, he told my husband he was quitting school. And my husband was like, what school are you quitting? Well, I'm not learning anything. Never did get out of him what school he thought he was at that he was quitting. Just sad and upsetting for my husband. the rest of his family has had a lot more time to deal with it. They're to the point, he's been in the hospital for a couple of months now. And so they're to the point that somebody goes up to see him whenever they have visiting hours. They rotate. My husband's brother takes my mother-in-law up there, and then my other in-laws, my husband's sister and her husband, they take turns going up there. My husband's oldest son takes a turn going up there with his significant other, but they're all just very matter of fact about it because they've been dealing with this for several months. So it's been kind of a shock for my husband to see the change, and not just the change in his dad, but the change in his mom as well. Because of course that's a huge change for her. She does not drive, has never had a driver's license. And so thankfully, his brother has been living with his mom for the last little while. So he's able to do a lot of things for her. And his sister and her husband do a lot of things as well. They take her to appointments, to get her hair cut, to get groceries, that kind of stuff. As well as, now taking her to see my husband's dad in the hospital, that kind of thing. But it's been very wearing on her. And my husband's brother told him that she's been having what they think are panic attacks. She's just been very anxious since he went in the hospital, which is understandable. They've been married at least 50 years, if not more. Yeah, I can't imagine the upheaval that is to have somebody who's been kind of that, constant in your life suddenly gone. I mean, he's not gone, but he's not at the house anymore. And he's been having trouble for quite some time. And they actually think what they've now diagnosed him with, and I forget the name of it, but whatever it is they've now diagnosed him with can be misdiagnosed as Parkinson's, and they think that's what happened. So yeah, just kind of been a learning experience all around. So it's been an interesting trip. So we left our home, and we had a 3-leg flight. We flew from our home to Houston. Which all of our flights were fine. We didn't have any problems in any of the airports. We had plenty of time to stop and eat and, make our planes. We weren't running for any connections or anything like that. But, just traveling takes a lot out of you. So we left our house probably 9 o'clock-ish, 9:30 in the morning. Our flight left at 11:15, 11:30, somewhere in there. Get to Houston. From Houston, we flew to Newark, and I actually slept on that flight, which was really nice because I was tired, and also because on that leg of the flight and the next one, we had a lady who was traveling with triplets, and they were fine. They were probably 2, maybe 3 years old. There were also a couple of other babies, 12 months and under on the plane. And just, I remember those days traveling with kids. It's not fun. You feel bad because, the kids are going to get fussy and there's nothing you can do about it. But you hate to annoy the rest of the plane. And it was a long enough flight that the triplets and the babies had enough. They were done flying. And, the poor mom's trying to keep them quiet. The lady with the triplets was actually, I think it was her mom traveling with her as well. So, there were 2 of them to wrangle the 3 kids, but the 3 little girls were a handful. And just, being typical kids, done being on an airplane, there was nothing to do. Even though they had little tablets and stuff, after a while that wasn't entertaining them. And yeah, it was just one of those I could sympathize, but boy, I don't miss those days of traveling with small children. So the flights were good. I mean, other than, a few babies crying, it was no big shakes. So from Houston, we flew to Newark, and then from Newark to Bangor. And we got into Bangor at, it was 11:30-ish, somewhere around there. So Bangor is not a very big airport. And we went downstairs to get our baggage. Our luggage took forever. I don't know why our baggage took so long. I mean, literally, there were two other flights that came in after us, and they all had their luggage and left, while most of our flight was still sitting there waiting for our bags. So I don't know what the deal was, but at least our luggage was there. We didn't have to go without it or anything. So we got our bags, walked across the street, checked into our hotel, and um, spent the night. Got up in the morning. It was a little bit of a shock. There was some snow on the ground, not bad, but some snow on the ground. Got our rental car and headed off towards my in-laws' house. And it's about a 6-hour drive. Got to the border, crossed the border, and about 10 minutes after we crossed the border, it started snowing and snowing pretty heavily. And we weren't, the way we were going, there's a way that you can go that goes over some pretty steep, what I would consider mountains. Lots of other people might only consider them hills. And I didn't want to go that way because we don't get good cell service. And I just didn't want to go that way in winter. My husband thought it would be fine. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go. Let's go this other way. Like I said, about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes past the border, it started snowing on us pretty heavily. And it was, not going to lie, I didn't worry because my husband was driving, and, he drives big trucks and all kinds of stuff in all kinds of weather. So I wasn't too concerned about it. There were a couple of places where, really only the right-hand lane is clear. So if we had to pass anybody, it was a little slippery. We did get an SUV so that we had an SUV in case there was bad weather. So happy that we did that, because it did feel safer, being in that kind of a vehicle with all-wheel drive versus being in a little, short sedan or a compact car, whatever we might have gotten stuck with if we hadn't specified. It only lasted for about an hour, and then it kind of tapered off, and the rest of the trip was fine, so that's good. And there is, once we arrived at his folks' place, there is snow on the ground here. They said they've really only gotten some decent snow in the last probably month. It's been a really mild winter other than that. And actually, we were looking at the temperatures. Temperature wise, it's actually 2 degrees warmer here in Canada than it is back home, which is weird. But there's also a foot of snow on the ground. We were making plans or trying to figure out when during our trip here we wanted to go see other family who lives in a different city. It's about a 3-hour drive to go visit. And I said, let's go this weekend so that we can drive up there, see them. They'll be off work so we could see everybody. Because my husband forgets when we travel that, like, we're on vacation, but not everyone else is. Everybody else still has to go to work Monday through Friday. So we were talking about that. And as we were making plans, we found out that it's a good thing we decided to go on the weekend, because Monday we're supposed to get another foot of snow. Now, I can't tell you the last time that I was actually, at our house where we've gotten a foot of snow. I can't remember when the last time that is. It's been probably 10 years at least that I recall that we got that much snow at one time. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, being here to see kind of what the snow and the weather will be like and how they handle it. But also, we're not planning on going anywhere. We're going over the weekend. So, via the magic of YouTube, you guys are watching this while I'm actually on the road. So, cross your fingers that everything goes smoothly for us and we don't have any problems getting up there. The snow isn't supposed to hit until Monday. So we should be back here and snuggled up safe back in our hotel room by the time anything hits. We'll have gotten our visit in and managed to avoid the worst of the weather. And then we're not supposed to really have any more weather until after we leave to go back home. So crossing my fingers that that ends up happening as well, because I don't want to have to try and drive that 6 hours back in a bad snowstorm like we were in before. So it's been interesting. I'm getting to see some things that we don't normally see here. You guys, I don't know if you can hear like background noise, like the heater is running. I don't know. I'll try and edit that out if it becomes too obnoxious. I tried to test it and see how much background noise it was picking up, but we'll see. And we'll see how much I can remove when I'm editing this. But anyway, yeah, I apologize. I filmed some things ahead of time so that I didn't have to worry about them while we were, flying and traveling all day. But I didn't get everything filmed, obviously, and got everything else set down, set up, had it ready to go, sat down to film, and went, oh man, I cannot believe I forgot my microphone. And we even went out and tried to find one, but nobody had one. I may end up going back to get a headset and having to do some voiceover stuff, but I hope not. Voiceovers are really hard to do when you're doing whipping chats. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It'll be an experiment. And, next time I'll know to make sure that I bring my microphone so that I have everything that I need instead of forgetting stuff. What else did I want to tell you in my life update? Life update. Oh, so we leave on the plane. We had arrived in Bangor. It was the next day. We were getting up, getting ready to go get our rental car. And as we're picking up the rental car, my youngest calls me and says to me, when's the last time you cleaned out the freezer? And we have a chest freezer downstairs where we keep a lot of overflow freezer stuff because we just don't have room for it in our refrigerator freezer. And I said to him, when was the last time I cleaned it out? I probably when we moved. I mean, I don't routinely go through the freezer to see what's in it. I go down, I get something out of it, I go back upstairs. Mom, this in here is blah, blah, blah. Okay, if it's old, throw it away. And I said, we're getting ready to get on the road, so do whatever you need to do, and I'll call you later. And then my husband, oh, he's going to throw all this stuff away, and I'm like, if it's expired, it needs to be thrown away anyway. So after we got here, we checked in the hotel, and then we went to go see the in-laws. My brother-in-law has only been living with my mother-in-law for 6 months or so. And it may be longer than that, but something like that. I don't think it's been a full year. Anyway, he's been kind of cleaning up stuff and he cooks a lot. And he went through her spices and some cabinets and things. He threw everything away. And he's telling me, this was from 2014. And I'm like, we just did all this at our house. So I can't really say anything because I just did all this to my husband too, where I went through everything and threw a bunch of stuff away that was expired. So I just thought it was funny that he happened to be doing it as well. Then my oldest sends me a text while we're there. She broke her glasses. Something happened and they broke. And so she had texted me from the optometry office, with questions about what should she do and, how much was it going to cost and all of that. And I'm like, well, first of all, I usually buy their security plan, whatever it's called, their safety plan, because my youngest is very rough on his glasses, always has been. And I always save money by buying it because I have to have his repaired so often. And she went in, it was some kind of spring that broke. They fixed it. It was like $20 because I guess the last time she went in, I didn't take her. I didn't go with her. And so when she bought the new glasses, she didn't buy the safety plan, which, $20 is nothing to get her glasses fixed. It was fine. But I just said, you need to keep that in mind next time you go in. But I just thought it was, funny that she just broke hers after my youngest just broke his a couple weeks ago. Like, must be that time of year, I guess. Everybody's breaking everything. So we've been visiting. My husband is actually at the hospital while I'm filming this, visiting his dad, trying to figure out what we need to do. We've driven around and looked at a bunch of different properties, trying to find an area that we thought maybe would be, an area we wanted to live in. We've looked at a couple of houses online. We're planning to go drive around and look at them, see where they're located, and then possibly talk to a realtor and get all that done. We're still kind of in limbo, explaining the whole permanent residency application to my in-laws because they don't know how any of it works either. So we were explaining to them, kind of all the things that we had to do and what we were waiting on. And, they're understandably anxious to see my husband move back up here so that he's closer. just, asking questions and trying to figure out what we're going to do. And my husband and I, now that we're up here and we can get some questions answered, hopefully, not only about housing, but permanent residency and that kind of thing. We had to go to the bank because we, of course, brought cash, but what we have is American cash. And while some places, even up here, will take American cash, it's just easier if we have Canadian currency. But we usually bring Canadian currency home for my youngest because it feels like monopoly money. It's like plastic and not a paper money like we're used to. And it has a lot of the same like security features, the security stripe. And we went to the hospital and my brother-in-law is like, oh, make sure you've got a toonie because that's how much it costs to get out of the hospital parking lot, which that's another thing that was different. Like in America, the parking lots are free because we pay so much to be in the hospital. I think if they tried to charge people for parking at hospitals, there'd be some kind of revolt. Or at least where I live, you don't have to pay to park at hospitals. Maybe it's not like that everywhere in America. I can't say that I've been to hospitals everywhere, but where we live, you do not have to pay to park. We don't have, well, I mean, there are probably $1 coins, but we don't really use them in America. Everything is, our change is quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies, not loonies and toonies. Which, for those of you who don't know, a loonie is a $1 bill and a toonie is a $2 bill. And then their paper money. And my husband, we went to a bank and got some of our American currency converted to Canadian currency. They were, the exchange rate favors us, so we got actually more money in Canadian than we turned in American. So that's always nice. And of course, she's like, well, there's a $3 fee. And we're like, is that $3 American or $3 Canadian? Oh, $3 Canadian. Okay. So about 30 cents less. Well, 30%, I guess is how I should say it. Right now, when he went into exchange, the $1 American is worth $1.30, $1.31 Canadian, I think is what he told me. Hopefully you can't hear my loud neighbors. And also, again, I apologize if you can hear that humming noise that is the heater. But I can't turn it off or this room turns into a deep freeze. We'll see if it's too obnoxious. Hopefully I can edit it out when I go to edit this video. Anyway, so we've been having fun on the trip so far. We're not very far into our trip. We've spent most of the time on the road, driving around, getting to where we need to go. And then, this has really kind of been my first chance to kind of sit down and do anything for any length of time at the hotel. We've just been here, long enough to kind of check in, sleep, and then we're up running around, which I guess that makes sense for hotels. I mean, you don't want to spend all of your time in the hotel, but I do have things I need to get done. So, and that pin is, I need my tweezers so that I can adjust my glue dots, and I don't have any because I forgot to pack mine. Anyway, things is going well so far. I'm enjoying. I haven't gotten to diamond paint for a couple of days, so it's pretty nice that I'm getting to do this. I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, is there anything else I need to tell you currently about my life update? I still plan to hit up some stores and things in Canada. There's a couple of like Dollar Tree type stores that I want to go look at and see if they have anything that I could use for diamond painting. If I could find another container system or a pair of tweezers or whatever, we're going to hit up a couple of those around here and just see what they have. There is no Michael's or Joanne in the town where my husband's family is from, but there is another larger town a bit closer, and then also the town that we're going to be traveling to, which we haven't yet because I'm past me is filming this, but we will be traveling while you're watching this because future me will be on the road. While we're in that larger town, I hopefully will be able to, we'll have time to stop and see if I can find a Michael's or some other kind of craft store to stop in and just check it out. I don't know if I'm going to actually buy a diamond painting or not, but I'd like to at least see what they have. Because I know like my Michaels, they carry diamond paintings, but not a huge selection. I mean, every time I go in, they'll have maybe 6, 8, and that's it. And of those 6 or 8, 4 of them will be all the same one. So you just don't get a bunch of selection. And I mean, I don't need to buy anything at this point. I have plenty of diamond paintings. I do want to at least kind of look around and see what's available in the craft stores, not only for diamond painting, but other things that we might want to do as well. My husband was looking at cutting machines because we might buy a new one for up here, and yeah, just lots of things up in the air. So we're looking at all of that. Okay, I guess that leads me into my diamond painting update, which I don't know that I have a whole lot to tell you guys for diamond painting. I did get to do my first sneak peek, so if you guys have not checked that out, check it out. It was my last video. I'll stick a link up in the corner so you can check it out. I got to do a sneak peek for Oraloa, and I have to say it was tons of fun. Just, being excited to get to do a sneak peek, something that nobody has really seen because it's not out yet, and getting that first kind of behind the scenes look at it was fun. And I like Oraloa. I'm actually planning on buying more from them because they actually have a warehouse in Canada, I believe. So shipping to Canada is not, well, I'm going to say it's not a big deal, but I mean, I know I can get things shipped to Canada. I'm excited to try more Dreamer Designs because they're located in Canada. But I also would like to try and find some other local, Canadian businesses that I would be able to support while I was up here. My husband and I still haven't figured out, exactly what everything looks like. We still have to contact the immigration center and kind of find out what's going on and where we're at in that process. So maybe I'll have more news about that later. But anyway, because we've been on the road, I haven't had a whole lot of time to diamond paint. And so I just haven't got a lot done. What was I trying to say? I haven't had a lot of time because that's what I was going to tell you guys. I haven't had a lot of time to work on my artist series. I really want to get started on that. I mean, here I am, we're basically most of the way through January, and I haven't really done anything that was on my original artist series. Now, I have since decided that I am going to include my Little Mermaid that I finished, my first finish of 2023. I'm going to include that because it's an artist that I've never done before. So she's going to be included on my list. And then I saw on Instagram, I think it was on Instagram, somebody posting there is going to be a Mikathon for Mika Jelena. I don't know if it's the same people that did a Mikathon last year, because last year I thought it was like July or August, somewhere in there. And this one they're saying is going to be in February. But I decided I don't really care which it is because I want to do Jules and Verne. It is a round, if I remember rightly. It is my oldest kit, which means I'll get to complete another piece of the challenge for the DAC challenge, and that'll be my oldest kit. It's not very big, so I can get it open, get it done. And having that event as an excuse just kind of lets me move it up the line a little bit. Then I'll be able to mark my oldest kit off as being done. So I'm going to be doing probably Jules and Verne, not absolutely next, but it will be one of my upcoming projects. And I really love that image. Oh, and she has a white face. And so one of the things that I want to try is I've been meaning to try, well, okay, let me explain. Oh, I have been meaning to try for a while. I had seen somebody talking about, and this was probably last year sometime, someone talking about on round kits, if you don't want to seal them, rather than going over them with a sealer, going back over them and filling in all the holes with a superfine glitter. So that way it's sparkly, but the glitter sticks to whatever glue is still exposed. So it is essentially sealed, even though not technically. And, you can just brush off the excess glitter. And I've also had someone tell me that you could do it with like cornmeal. just brush some cornmeal on, because the cornmeal will make it not stick anymore. So whatever, glue is still showing between the drills, the cornmeal will cover it up. Now I hadn't tried that one because I didn't know what the cornmeal would look like. Like if it put made everything white behind it, that wasn't necessarily the look I wanted. So I was waiting to try the glitter. And while I had it on my list of things to do, I actually saw a video from Jaded Gem Shop where she was talking about putting mica powder in between the drills, which is essentially the same thing as the glitter. It's just that the mica powder is not glittery, it's not shiny and sparkly. And she was doing it specifically to hide, the gaps in drills, especially white drills. And we all know how I feel about white backgrounds. And so I've gotten some mica powder, and I'm going to be picking up some glitter, which is something I'm going to be looking for at these craft stores here in Canada. And I'm going to be trying both of those to see what it's like. Now, if I can replicate her results, she was doing, I want to say it was like a Jasmine Beckett Griffith, which I have a couple of those. And part of the reason I don't do a lot of hers is because I don't like the white faces, because I don't like all the white. But the results she was getting with the mica powder for making kind of those gapping between the drills disappear was almost like magic. And if I can duplicate those results, that will probably be something that I add to, my regular repertoire for doing diamond paintings, because it just made everything look so much better. So that, even if your drills weren't perfectly placed, especially with white, I said many times, I think the white just accentuates the gapping. This kind of filled them in and made them disappear. They were still there. And if you zoom in really close, you can still see them. But even from just, probably the distance that you are now, it was not as noticeable. And it just made it look really a lot better. And so I'm anxious to try it and see what kind of results I get. Now I got white mica powder, and then I'm waiting on, it had actually arrived before I left, but I don't know if my black one has showed up. I've ordered some black because I think the black will be better on darker colors. Like I don't want to put, like if I was doing it for this kit, for instance, I wouldn't want to put white. Well, I don't know that I'd want to put white or black. And you can get mica powder in pretty much any color. But like if I wanted to, if you needed to, if you had bad black drills or something and you needed to, fill them in, black, usually dark colors, there's not as much of a problem as showing the gapping as there is with lighter colors. But I wanted to get them both and try. We'll see how it goes. And of course, I'll be sharing the results of all of that with you guys when I get back home and I'm back in my regular setup and I have all the stuff that I need to to do all of that. I'm a little handicapped here with, missing some of my equipment and not having all the things that I'm used to having for my accessories and stuff like that. I thought I went through and I was very careful about what I needed to bring with me and, what I would be okay leaving behind. And yeah, clearly the microphone is something I need to remember to bring, but then also my tweezers. And if I'd had more stickers made, I probably would have bought more stickers than just what I have on here. So that's something else I'm going to be looking for at the craft stores here, is that, some stickers and things, maybe, like I said, even another container set just to make it a little easier on myself. We only brought one suitcase and we're staying for almost 2 weeks, so I couldn't pack a ton of things. I was patting myself on the back that I managed to get 2 paintings, my pens, my tray, one set of containers, all to fit in the one suitcase that we were allowing ourselves. In retrospect, we should have just taken 2 suitcases and then I wouldn't have had to be near as worried, and I probably would have ended up with everything that I need instead of being short some stuff. But live and learn, right? I think that's everything I needed to tell you guys. I know this is going to be a little bit of a short whip and chat, but like I said, I'm doing this from the hotel room. I don't know exactly how this is going to go. I may have to film another one of these while we're still traveling, so maybe I'll learn something from this one. Again, I apologize if everything is not up to, my usual snuff, but I'm not in my usual recording studio with all of my equipment. So there's that. I am going to call that good there. I've got most of the background done here. So I've got all of this done. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. Ooh, I didn't realize there was quite so much of that that you couldn't see, but I got all of this done up here and down here. So hopefully you guys could see all that. I'm going to call that good there. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video, guys. I hope you managed to get something done on your work in progress as I got something done on mine. Before you leave, guys, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.